ban as well. Interesting.
I don't know what... Sars Perfect maybe not quite able to play those champions?
I guess so, but as like a first ban as well. We'll see. There's the Kindred against
Makes me wonder
Impaler.
what they want to put on as a priority then, because if the mid laners are gone, that's telling me either that there's
Victor,
something in the
Lissandra,
mid that they really want, or they really don't want Suno playing these champions.
Apparently, waiting on the last ban coming out. Going to be a Lee's aimed at Caesar, so targeted ban at an Impaler, because he's had some good games on Kindred. He's just never been able to transition that lead he gets in the early game into mid game. So if you make sure he doesn't even get a lead in the early game, then he's not going to do anything in the mid game. So maybe that's the goal there with that ban. We just need one more out from SK Gaming. 8 seconds remaining. What else could they ban?
Trundle's open, Nidalee open, Graves is open, Lucian open.
There's Nidalee.
It's going to be the Nidalee ban. All right, so Trundle could be the priority Fnatic Academy. Now, Willard did play it on day 1.
Yeah.
Didn't work out quite as well as they would have hoped. Up against Maokai, I do believe that it was. That was also when they went up against the Gragas from low priority as well. And the Gragas into the Kindred worked really nicely. So, SK, I imagine they're going to be looking towards something like the Gnar once again. You know, they've had great success with it on Ruin, and these were the first team that brought it out on day 1. Yeah. Caught a few people off guard from what we've heard.
Couple people. So Lissandra as the first pick actually. Well, so there's the priority. They banned out Azir and Ryze, and then pick up the Lissandra as the first pick.
Got to be Victor then for SK. It has to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
what else would go mid?
Is really the optimal. We did see the Karma work out last game, but you don't want to pick something like a LeBlanc into the Lissandra. It didn't work out the last time. We saw it when Selfie played it the other day. The Lissandra into LeBlanc matchup, and he decimated. So SK likely to put some priority on Victor. They don't need to pick it up now. It's almost like that they could do what every red side team have done today, and they've picked Trundle Lucian on their first rotation.
What a shocker. Yeah, so pretty easy one there. We're now looking towards Fnatic.
So likely to be their jungle support rotation or jungle AD carry, because Trundle, he's a flex. What you don't want to do is give them Lucian Braum, so very likely that we're going to see the Braum pick up again, and with Graves left available, it would make a lot of sense to me for Impaler to go towards that, unless they're looking for something a little bit more early game, in which case the Elise could also work for Impaler.
Impaler, yeah, it strikes me more of an Elise player, but did just lock in the Graves, so that would be the Ezreal as well. Actually, we've seen Ezreal picked into Lucian every game. Yeah, like all the time. So Braum is still available. If the actually the Trundle could go top lane, they could pick the Braum there with the Lucian. That's a possibility unless they want to go for a range support. It just depends what SK want to go for here. I mean, the mid's already been picked up. Well, we did see Lissandra top yesterday, but it was okay.
I did not like that.
I didn't either. So what do you pick here? Do you just pick up the Victor? And then
you want to save your top for the counter pick, because you already know what your opponent is going to be in the mid. Victor is a very safe thing to go into the middle lane. And
I just realized Elise was banned. That's why Impaler didn't go for the
whoops. So Rek'Sai. We saw that from Mouse yesterday, going for the very early Black Cleaver, and that when I was watching it with Sifa, we were discussing maybe with the Black Cleaver changes, it could result in Rek'Sai coming back into fashion. Maybe I know Dan is quite unique in the way that he plays, but push Rek'Sai. But I still think Black Cleaver as an item could still be very good on that channel.
Yeah. But Gragas was also available, and he still picked Rek'Sai over Gragas.
Gragas not great into the Lissandra Ez combo. Yeah. Especially with Braum still available too. Braum can be quite obnoxious into the Gragas too. But if you just imagine it, hey, let's lock Lissandra into our whole team, and now she's got a 5-man route into a 5-man ultimate. Yeah. And then the Ezreal as well, it's quite easy to see it coming. I'm just going to blink and I'm going to get knocked away. So there is plenty of counterplay around there. Oh! That's a Kennen. Okay. Cool. All right. So massive fan of the Kennen. This is going to be the first Kennen of 6.10 and CSQ. He has had some massive changes to his ultimate. All of his abilities now cost less energy, but his ultimate now hits everybody inside it. It doesn't matter. It will apply stacks to everyone. That means he has way more utility, and his total damage in that ultimate is also so much bigger. So Kennen, really awesome pick. It is likely going to be in the top lane. I hope it's in the top. It's a longer lane. It's easier to land those skill shots. I like to play Kennen in the mid lane, but what you will find is if you put him in the mid, you never hit a shuriken because the opponent can just hide behind the minion wave. And given the shape of the lane, it's really difficult to set up. And with his electrical surge on his E, it's easy to dash out if a gank ever comes out. So it makes a lot more sense up in the top. But we are seeing a pretty heavy teamfight composition coming out from Fnatic.
Cool. Should be very interesting to see that pick come out here. And it's basically just a teamfight composition. You've got Graves coming out with Lissandra, with the Kennen ultimate. So going to be just a lot of fighting. And that was the Poppy pickup. So it's not Dumbledore's playing in this game, so you have to assume it's going into top lane.
Yep.
That'll be a Trundle support.
Likely to be a Trundle support. We have seen it go back and forth throughout the CSQ. They still have plenty of time to swap that one around, and there it is. So Ruin going to be playing Poppy. Moving away from the Nard this game, decided that the Poppy would be the better pick into the Kennen. Another thing about Kennen, item changes. Perfect for him. Abyssal and Dazonia, something that we've been seeing on the Lissandra as well, now gives you cooldown reduction. So it's perfect for Kennen. It's, this patch really has suited him very nicely. I have heard of people talk about AD carry Kennen now that it provides that much more utility, but it looks like Fnatic, they're going to be putting it up in the top. Wurlib, he can have some element of split push threat with that. Whether or not he's going to go for that style, I'm not entirely sure. Open to interpretation, depending on how he chooses to play. But run through of SK's composition, they do have a pretty good mid-game fight once again. Once you have Victor Lucian, it's very easy to sit there and go, team fight. These guys are good at team fight. You have frontline Poppy, frontline Trundle, potential split push presence of the Rek'Sai if you want it, also split push of the Poppy. Rek'Sai typically not great in team fights necessarily, can have an impact, act as a solid frontline as well and a nuisance, but especially in the early game, he can be quite the terror.
Sure, and we also have these matchups. So, Sos Perfect, a lot of focus on picking the Lissandra here, because they banned out Ryze, they banned out Azir, and I first picked the Lissandra. So, really wanted that one over the Victor coming out from Suno. And Suno, one of Suno's staples for sure. I mean, another one would have been Twisted Fate, which was banned out pretty much all the time against him last time we saw Suno, and then now he's just not picked it at all. So, yeah, definitely doesn't kind of fit in the same way as Victor does, at least in this situation. Top lane. We'll see how Poppy does against Kennen. Had the counter pick, but what do you really pick against like Kennen in that scenario? Which
Swain.
Is Swain. Yeah, you just go ham and just
Seriously,
pick up like
Swain is a really awful matchup for Kennen. Like, there is nothing more obnoxious than trying to play into that because you just can't.
Bird goes down. He stands behind minions.
What Kennen wants to do is be on your face. What Swain wants to do is be on your face. But the difference is Swain gets health back if you're on his face. So you're basically... It's hard for him to close the gap, you see, as a Swain. He's a slow-moving bird, which is a little bit ironic. But what Kennen does is he closes the gap for you, and he's just like, oh, thank you for coming to me, little rodent. Now you will be my prey. And so...
Well, birds do eat... Yeah, I guess it's like a big crow would eat like a mouse or whatever Kennen is. I guess he's a yordle.
No one knows. He could very well be a yordle. Or just a really short man.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he was just something like anomaly, and he was just like small and furry.
There are a lot of practical applications to being short and a ninja.
Yeah, and being able to utilize thunder shurikens. I mean, that's pretty cool. We are just talking about Kennen right now because we have a small pause in game, so we're just waiting for the players to restart. So you get to hear us talk about Kennen.
Yes.
I don't know if his lore changed, because I know like last time it was like super short, and it was just like he was in this like town of other like lightning yordles or something, and he ran up a wall, and they were like, "Damn, he's a good yordle," and then they just made him like the whatever his title is with the other like Kinku order. So
I haven't read his lore, but looking at Kennen, my idea for his lore.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
My idea for his lore would be right. So he's just chilling out, right, in the park, probably a park. That's where
in
I can
Ionia.
see Kennen.
Yeah, the park in Ionia.
Yeah, the park in Ionia. When one day some crazy experiment, probably by Victor because he's a jerk, right, hits him by lightning, right? So pretty standard. I get hit by lightning. I now have lightning powers. Okay. Now what he decides is because he's really angry after getting hit by lightning.
Looks pretty angry.
Yeah, exactly. He picks up all the blood moon and he infuses the lightning with his own blood. Okay. Right. And now that turns him into a crazy demonic ninja demon thing that can now wreak terror upon the world with his abyssal scepter, which fits in with his crazy killing mentality.
Well, that was a great story, Vedius, but we are in game with Fnatic and SK, the old El Clasico, and we'll be getting into this one. That started off as the plot from The Flash, but it went somewhere very different.
It did! That's a very valid point. It did.
We'll have to see what these two teams bring
Spoiler,
to the table.
If you haven't seen Flash,
come on, that's like the first 10 seconds. Cesar, he's gonna dance.
Oh, no.
He didn't want to dance. This is not the time to be dancing. Impaler, Cly, Whirlib, and Exor. They thought that dance was terrible, and they're gonna murder him for it.
Yes, they are. Whirlib expressing his rage on Kennen after being struck by lightning. Going to be pretty happy with picking up that early assist. Kill actually goes over to Impaler, so that's going to help set him up for his typical aggressive jungle style that he does like to rely on. They're also going to get the flash out of Cesar in exchange for the exhaust of Cly. So overall, I think that's a very good trade going in the favor of Fnatic Academy.
Okay. A little bit of vision out here. Going to see Cesar once again. Let's go back into the jungle and kill him again. But they do have that warded. And another lane swap ward as well. We'll see Vardax go into the top lane. Unlimited does sneak up there, but if Vardax is going up there, then you can bet your bottom dollar that Unlimited will be there too. Cly and Exorc also taking away this Gromp, but that means that they have read the lane swap and will go into the top lane themselves. And Impaler will be taking away this camp. But where does Whirlib go now?
Ah, right. So what Whirlib thought was that Fnatic Academy were going to be able to pull off the lane swap. SK, preemptively reading that, decided to stick to their standard matchups. And so with Whirlib going for the initial double jungle means that he's going to arrive very late into that 1v1. Don't think he's going to lose too much farm off the back of it. If anything, he's going to lose 1 or 2 CS, which will put him a little bit behind. But given that he does have a range advantage over the Poppy, I think he's still going to be all right off the back of that. So standard lanes coming out from both Fnatic Academy and
Australia.
Except they are swapped around. Is that what you call it?
Australia lanes?
Australia lanes.
Yeah.
Because they're topsy-turvy.
That's correct. Exorc and Cly just fighting up against Vardax and Unlimited here. And not too much happening. Mid lane is going to be Lissandra Victor. So again, not too much happening, as it is basically a farm lane. Impaler just in a battle to the death with his jungle. Ruin up against Whirlib, probably the most interesting lane here for the laning phase at least. Poppy against Kennen. Kennen will put a lot of harassment down onto Poppy, but right now Whirlib's just looking for the last hits. He's just chilling out.
You know, thinking about it more, Kennen is very much like the Flash.
Yeah.
Because now in the Flash, he can throw lightning.
That's true. Now that's a spoiler.
That's a spoiler. Like, whoops.
Cover your ears, kids.
But yeah, Kennen could be very. If anything, he's like the League equivalent of the Flash.
Maybe he doesn't run that fast though. He does, but he does throw.
He does get tanky stats when he uses his E though. The electrical surge does give you armor and magic resistance. So
he went through a phase of people actually maxing that second.
Yeah, and that's what I want to keep my eyes on as to whether or not he does do that.
It should be W max first.
Yep. It does help a lot with your harassment as well. You have to remember that his Mark of the Storms now last a little bit shorter. You have a smaller window to take advantage of.
To be fair, they lasted like forever before, like literally forever.
6.5 seconds to be precise.
Still a long time.
Now it's down to 6. So you have 0.5 seconds less to pop that mark.
Damn.
But I'm sure that's not going to affect his play too much. But yeah, because a lot of people haven't seen Kennen for a while. I'm sure a lot of people after seeing this might think, "Ooh, Kennen top, quite like it." Would encourage you play it. It is a lot of fun with the changes to his ultimate. Abyssal Zhonya's, I would argue, is the best build to go on him. You start with the Doran's Blade because it's kind of the next best you can go for. Doran's Ring doesn't really work on him. Doran's Shield isn't very cost efficient, and you don't really want to pick up an Amp Tone. It's not that it's not useful, but you just kind of want the early value stats that a Doran's Blade can have.
Yeah.
Given that you rely on your basic attacks anyway to proc the W,
exactly,
it's a valuable pickup. So that's why you'll see it on Kennen. So for those interested in picking him up, I would recommend you start with Doran's Blade, max W if you're going top lane, get that nice harass down, as you can see Whirlib making full use of so far in the early game.
Yeah, a lot of auto-attack harassment going to come out. Pure Effect is going to land a bit of damage just before he Glacial paths back to his tower. It's kind of disappointing, actually, how bad Doran's Shield is as an option early game. Because so often it's just like, well, if I can go Ruby Crystal, if I can go something else, and that is generally the option. It's just like, if I can't do anything else, then I guess I'll go Doran's Shield. But it's like never usually a good option for a solo laner. Because it's just, as you said, it's not as gold efficient as the other Doran's items. So, a little bit sad, but I believe people will live with that.
I used to buy that on Katarina. It was a great item on Cat because it helped you get through the laning phase.
But then people went like Cloth 5 as well, is also a fantastic setup for the early game.
But then
now you can do Cloth 4.
Yep. Nobody actually buys cloth armor first.
Well, no one plays Cat either, so that's probably why.
I try to. I try really hard.
Well, we only talk about competitive here, so...
and that'll never happen.
Yeah.
So, moving back on to competitive, I want to keep my eyes on Caesar as well, the sort of early game impact that he can have, because we saw Dan play the Rek'Sai, which didn't surprise me because it was kind of like Dan's special. It was something that he always fell back on. The fact that Caesar's bringing it out suggests that maybe he's another jungler to add back to the pool alongside with Elise and Gragas. How much of an early game impact he can have, how well he roams around the map using that ultimate. Interesting stuff that I want to keep my eyes on. So moving forward, we'll have to see how things work out as Caesar looks for a bit of an aggressive invade.
So we've got Vardax in this bottom lane. Caesar's also coming down. Whirlup, or rather Ruin, of course, Australia lanes. How could I forget? Whirlup is now level 6, so Caesar probably shouldn't gank anymore because there's a good chance that Whirlup will just kill both of them. So he's going to back away. Mid lane still trading off, both of them also level 6. Impaler with the Graves Lissandra combo could nuke down Suno very easily because he does run a cleanse, as usual when you do into Lissandra, but by the time that you hit cleanse, you're probably already dead because collateral damage has hit you in the face. Bot lane, Whirlup has picked up the Hextech Revolver. That's his first item, so we'll see where that goes into.
That's really interesting, because we have to remember now Spellvamp is gone from the game.
Yeah.
So Hextech Revolver now gives you, it gives you magic damage. It gives you a magic bolt that deals the enemy a nice bit of shock damage, which fits with Kennan's kit perfectly. And I'm really interested to what he goes. Would he go for the Proto Belt? I think that it will help him a lot. Adds on to his dash, just enables you to get into the team that much easier. And so we're finally seeing that Hextech itemization. We were having this discussion at the start of the stream that we haven't been seeing any. Perhaps we could as... Ooh!
Well, there's that combo we were just talking about. Pure Effect and Impaler. And the True Shot Barrage, right between the goalposts. But Impaler and Suz Pure Effect are here. And there's kind of impending doom as the minion wave is slowly being taken by Exorg. Here's the teleport as well from both teams, but I think it's going to be too slow out from SK. Vardax is going to back away. Whirlup's coming in here, pops the ultimate, moving on to Ruin, Unlimited as well. That's 2 kills over to SK. Vardax is exchanged in return. Kalai also caught out. He's going to flash over the wall right into Caesar, who's going to knock him up. Ruin will find the kill, throwing the lollipop down and picking that one up. Impaler is going to be trying to retreat. Prey Seeker comes across. Flash is still available from Caesar, but they will get out away. That was a 3-1 in a dive set up by Fnatic.
Yes, that was an abysmal dive. That was... You really shouldn't have gone for that, Fnatic. You found the pick onto Caesar. You had to use Suz Purefect's ultimate to guarantee that kill, and because of that, you didn't have the lockdown or the damage necessary to get exactly what you wanted when setting up that dive. So SK being able to respond perfectly to that execution from Fnatic, equalizing the kill score. And remember, they were 2-0, and now they're going to bring it back to 3-1. Hopefully we can get a replay to properly break that down, because there were just so many little things that went wrong for Fnatic.
Well, you're going to get your wish,
I'm going to get my wish. So, yeah, we can see here, Caesar getting caught out. Wasn't expecting that whatsoever. And Impaler and Purefect both use their ultimates to get that kill. Level 6, you're relying purely on your base damages. And because those 2 ultimates are down, you're not going to have as much damage as you need. So have a look at this. Vardax instantly uses the heal, sitting on the back line. And Whirlup, he's just not hitting anyone of importance. Suz Purefect tanks the turret for way too long thanks to a brilliant exhaust coming out from Unlimited. And because of how long it took them to set that dive up, both Caesar and Suno have plenty of time to rotate up to the top lane and help SK get a couple kills back in return. So SK, nice return on the execution from Fnatic, which was really quite shocking.
Yeah, it was not good at all. And now 2 kills have gone over to Ruin, so 2-0-0 in his game right now, and 2 kills over to Impaler. But I feel like every early game we see Impaler get like 2 or 3 kills and just not be able to transition into the mid game with them. Ruin is up here right now. Whirlup's also coming out. We may see a fighter rub. Caesar and Unlimited drawing the top frenzy. And Impaler shoots out the end of the line. True Shot Barrage also hits Caesar. And Suno is coming into the top lane, so maybe they can try and defend this one. The tower's already down to about half health. Vardax why not just finish the turret?
Just hit the turret! No, he's going to be picking that one up relatively soon. Right now, things have slowed down a little bit. 10-minute mark. Gold is exactly even between the two teams. Cesar has died twice. A little bit unfortunate. Gave away that first blood very early on. Ended up getting picked off as well. And actually, it looks like Fnatic Academy rotating up, using the TP.
Going to be charging up the Poppycopter, and Kalai and Purefed go flying. Impaler's now by himself, and this could very much be a kill on him very early on, but Cesar is going to trade his life. Both junglers fall down for a 1-for-1 trade.
A little bit of a misplay from Cesar. He came out from his burrow a little bit too early, which means that he didn't get the knockup on to Impaler. Because of that, Werlib was almost able to save his jungler's life, but Cesar fortunately just able to get that last hit in, so they ended up trading 1-for-1 once more. Cesar did use his flash in that engagement, so he's not going to have that available moving forward. But still, SK losing a turret off the back of that as well. Still sitting on top of the gold lead as a result of Vardags just sitting in the bottom, getting a lot of free farm.
Well, Suno is going to head on down here. The first dragon of the game is Infernal, but we're going to see all of those events once again. There's the TP, but such a good ultimate from Ruin to start it off.
Yeah, it was a really nice setup from Fnatic. You can see what they were trying to do. Collapse down onto Ruin, catch him out of position, and then Cesar a little bit too soon with the unburrow. Fortunately, is able to get the kill. I actually think the Krug might have actually picked that one up.
MVP.
But yeah, 1-for-1 overall between the two teams. Very back and forth. El Clasico. Very living up to its name right now.
True.
As SK trying to get some control over the dragon, which is the Infernal Drake. So setting up for potentially the 3rd-degree burn, which is what we heard from earlier.
Dark, but I like it. So Cesar and Unlimited, I mean, coming into the bot lane here, see if they can do anything to set up this dragon. Unlimited is actually just going to walk into the bush, but there's a Kindle Gem being picked up by Werlib, so have to assume it's going to be the Proto belt.
Yes.
Dash 01. From memory, I think it gives 300 health, 60 ability power, and cooldown reduction, like every other AP item nowadays. And the small dash, so it will help him position a little bit as well. So
yes, and it fires bolts of fire when you dash, which is cool, very snazzy. And I have seen some really cool Twisted Fate plays with it, actually, where Twisted Fate will use his ultimate to get into a position, and then he'll use his dash just as it spawns to then reposition in a way that will allow him to dodge some abilities and then get the stun down. So it has some cool outplay potential. And we were figuring out where does it go in the priority list of items. I would still prefer a Abyssal over this item personally on the cannon. But clearly, Werlib disagrees. And he is the pro player, so we'll have to see how well things work out for him.
Well, there's so many items that are so damn good for those champions. It's like Zhonya's is great, Abyssal Scepter's good. By the time you're on like 3rd item, you like to get like a Death Cap. So, yeah, he's going to have to sacrifice one of those things.
Well, if I'm being honest, if I could, I would get a Death Cap 1st item, but people get mad at me if I prioritize that.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really...
It's also not that cost efficient because it amplifies. Yeah. But it's a wizard's hat, and I love being a wizard.
That's true. And if you get a bunch of Infernals, it was just like, I was just preparing for the eventuality where we get triple Infernal. And then I have all the amplification, which is actually still bad, but there you go. Unlimited, he's checking on these bushes. Only 40 minutes into this game, but surprising that actually no one has prioritized the dragon at all. At 40 minutes into the game, and it's Infernal. If it was Cloud, I could understand, but...
I think both teams are a little bit wary, because whoever sets up for the dragon will not really be in a great position to force a fight. Now, remember what Werlib wants is for action to start, and then him to teleport in, come in for the flank, and get that multi-man cannon ultimate after a lot of the mobility has been burnt by SK, because if he's the one setting up the fight, then he could just get knocked back, he can get disengaged. You have to remember that there is the ultimate coming out from Ruin, there's the pillar coming out from Unlimited, there's the gravity field from Suno, so there's a lot of crowd control abilities that Werlib has to be very wary of. So if possible, he wants to come in as late as possible. So if Fnatic are the ones to set that one up, maybe they can bait SK in and then Werlib comes in from behind, but it's still not the ideal situation to be in. They'd much rather SK start off the dragon, and then they come in with a 2-pronged attack onto that objective.
Well, that may be the play. With a lot of people in the bottom lane, could be something opening up. Pretty secret of the wall, so Cesar tells Impaler he's here with a warning shot. Proto Belt has been complete by Whirlip, so he's going to be using that one at some point. Actually does a bunch of damage, 150 plus a third of your AP, so actually quite a lot of damage. Going for the Thundering Shuriken as a second max, by the way.
Oh, really?
Not going for the Electrical Surge or the Lightning Rush as his second max, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't want to go for that slightly tanky route. I would argue that if you are going to be the one being the main initiator, you want to go for the E first. But hang on a second, Dragon gets started off.
Yeah, Cesar has been forced to try and go near the pit so he can try and get the steal, but instead he's just going to find a Selfie, or not Selfie, Purefect, who manages to kill him. I see the champion, I think Selfie. Kallai's going to get chased down. Vardax is over the wall. He's out of the fight. Ruin takes the Winter's Bite. Chase out by Suno. Looking for the Death Laser. Doesn't quite connect it.
Nice.
Good pillar from Unlimited. That will allow Ruin to get in range. Vardax even comes in with a Piercing Light to pick up that kill. That was a 2-1. Again, advantage to SK.
Yeah, another fantastic team fight going in their favor right now, using that team fight composition to its advantage. And Fnatic struggling to find the initiation that they wanted. They were able, to catch Cesar out of position. They shut him down, but he's really not a target that adds much value in these engagements. He's level 9, he's 1-4-1. He's not really going to be the one doing very much. So losing him early on is not that big of a deficit for SK. But have a look, Fnatic are the ones to kick this one off. They target Cesar. You get the flank TPs coming out from both Kennen and Lissandra. The immediate target focus is Vardax, which is great for Purefect. But look at Whirlip. He can't get through that gravity field, and this is exactly what we were talking about. So many crowd control abilities that he has to be wary of can really mitigate his influence on these team fights. And without that additional damage coming in from the top lane, it just sets up SK to go for the chase, get themselves a second kill, and likely picking up that Infernal Drake off the back of that.
Very unfortunate in these fights, really, for Fnatic Academy, and even that Proto Belt didn't really help, and that's where you've got to start questioning, would like a Zhonya's Hourglass actually be more efficient early on into this game, because you pick that one up, and then he gets into that backline, and then he just pops the ultimate Zhonya's. And maybe that's more efficient than going for the Proto Belt to try and reposition, because it doesn't matter if you're dead. So after all of that, SK didn't even pick up the Dragon, and Fnatic got it anyway, so
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Unlucky.
Yeah, that's kind of odd, because they won the fight, they got the positioning of the area, they got the vision.
But they could very well get the Rift Herald off the back of this.
They get the Glimpse of the Void.
Yes, Glimpse of the Void, and that's going to make this Poppy that much harder to deal with. Speaking of the Poppy, level 12, 203. You and I talked a lot about Ruin and how he kind of had these 50-50 plays. Gotta be honest, he feels so much more consistent on this Poppy.
True, very true. Also because he wasn't harassed that much in lane by Whirlip.
No, he wasn't.
And also now because Whirlip's been like dumpstered over and over again by all of these fights, Ruin's just been reaping in all of these rewards from the fights, getting the kills, getting the assists. So yeah, has been doing pretty well in this champion so far.
Yes,
and Cesar is going to be walking into the mid lane. Impaler is taking away his jungle. There we go.
Vardax going for the Ghostblade into Black Cleaver build that we've been seeing so much from Lucian these days. Going to transition nicely into the mid game as we are approaching the 20-minute mark. Baron going to be spawning relatively soon, and that Rift Herald buff, Glimpse of the Void, did go on top of Ruin, as you can see from that purple glare stacking quite beautifully onto that Sunfire Cape, or Balmy Cinder even. So
we're now talking about aesthetics when it comes to your itemization and buff choices.
Yeah, did you know that the... ooh, there it is!
There's the belt, look at the damage! And Cesar's coming out. He's going to be 1v1ing Purefect, who's going to return with his own ultimate. That's so much damage out from Impaler, but guesses wrong on the Duke route, and Purefect will pay the price. He goes down, another kill to SK.
So, Fnatic, they try to collapse down onto Ruin once again, but with the fantastic disengage that he has available, they weren't able to shut down onto Cesar. Impaler held a little bit too long onto that ultimate, which meant that he wasn't able to finalize that kill onto Cesar. And he is now reaching a point where he is tanky enough that he can deal with a lot of the burst that is coming out from Purefect this early on. So SK feeling a lot more confident compared to how they were early on. So have a look at this. Willib using that belt to close the gap. Huge amounts of damage down onto Ruin. As Purefect trying to come in from the flank, the Fnatic Academy's attention turns onto Cesar. Impaler a little bit too slow on the trigger with that one. And because Purefect is overcommitted, he ends up falling to the hands of SK, and that kill going over to, I believe it was Suno, as another fight kicks off.
Ruin's going in. He just uses a heroic charge and goes behind the tower and just kind of walks out again. So he's good. He's good. Willib goes back into the top lane. Still behind in terms of farm, still behind in terms of everything pretty much. Has those swiftness boots, getting swifty in this game, and will go into the opposing jungle. Cesar, he's going to find him, sees him on the Tremor Sense, and Ruin will go back to farming. So SK are generally getting, or gradually getting farther and farther ahead in this game, but you have to feel a lot of that has just been Fnatic making these over-aggressive plays, which has allowed SK to pick up these kills. It's kind of been delivered to them on a silver platter, and all SK need to do is just pick it up.
That's almost like the story of Fnatic, though, really, isn't it? As you said very at the beginning of this matchup, Fnatic first 10 to 15 minutes looking pretty solid. The kill score was pretty even. Fnatic try to force plays over and over and over again, and things just go abysmally wrong. I think arguably we could go back even earlier and just back to that tower dive up in the top. Giving 3 kills over to SK, not resulting in what Fnatic wanted. And I mean, Fnatic have left a lot to be desired, because a lot of hype came in behind this team, and right now they are definitely, I suppose they're meeting the expectations of what they have now become over the last 3 days.
Maybe. A little sad to have hit this position though with this team, because if they were going to pick up a win anywhere, and maybe they could do it against SK, who have surprisingly looked very good in this tournament. 2-0 so far. Ruin been great. Suno's been fantastic. Bot lane's been holding its own. And in this game, again, holding its own. Yes, they are behind Fnatic Academy, but Suno in his own right, 2-0-1. I think Unlimited has been doing a pretty good job. Has not died this game. The infinite KDA.
As Ruin 1v3, can he do it?
Poppycopter, he takes one out of the fight. Willib is going to be coming out here. Cesar comes in for the knock-up onto Willib. Ruin comes in, throws out the hammer shock. Here comes the TP out from Willib, looking for Purefect rather, coming in for the good position. Flash W, ultimate, there it is. The AoE down, the wombo combo out from Fnatic. Will it be enough? Unlimited, he's close to dying, but after all of that damage coming out, only Cesar goes down.
So this is how Fnatic want to be playing these fights. SK are the ones to set up the play. Fnatic use the double teleport to come in from the flank. Purefect going for the flash, root with his W, multi-man ultimate into the cannon multi-man ultimate. Yes, Fnatic only get 1 kill, but it is a step in the right direction to getting yourself back into the game. So have a look at this. Fnatic, they're being a little bit over-aggressive, piling down onto Ruin. They want to try and get a bit of damage down onto him, but the rest of SK are there backing their top laner up. Cesar, once again, being that initiator that SK need, and here comes the teleport, because SK have overcommitted enough that Lissandra can come in with the Claw of Doom, get the multi-man route into the Frozen Tomb, followed by the flash from Willib into effectively tons of damage.
And it was so close to picking up Ruin and Unlimited. That was also very close to being 1-for-1 from SK, because Willib got away with like 100 health, if not less. So yes, it was a good team fight from them, but it very easily could have just been a 1-for-1 at the same time. They are slightly ahead in gold, still 1,000. They have 2 towers because they've been making these aggressive plays. They have that 1 dragon as well. Another one will be up in 20 seconds. So we'll see how much more Fnatic can do, but this is the kind of stage in the game where historically Fnatic have really had a lot of problems in terms of their decision making. So if they can solve some of those issues, maybe this could be the road back to glory, because they really do need a win here. Being 0-2 in their group currently, if they lose another game with only 5 games total in the group stage, is going to be real hard. And they really by real hard, I mean basically they're out.
They want to take a game off SK as well, because they're 2-0 right now. A win for them is going to guarantee them tied for first place in the group as of today. So for the sake of the rest of the group, I don't know where that was going. Wave clear, I guess. But because they were able to force back Exorc, now SK are in a fine position to take away the Mountain Drake and begin their mountain range assessment, assembly. That's the word.
Yeah.
So they're going to be pretty happy with that one, as Ruin has found Impaler.
He has indeed. Oh, yeah. Oh,
nice.
The block with the steadfast presence.
Swish. I like that.
Real nice.
And Pela just being like, later nerd, and then just using the ultimate to go over the wall. Beautiful.
Yeah, very well played out there from Ruin. So burns the ultimate, and Cesar into this mid lane will be clearing some of this out. What are we looking in terms of item builds? Haven't visited those this game. Got the Warrior Enchant, followed by the Phantom Dancer coming in from the jungle from Impaler. Mid lane, as expected, on his Hourglass, Abyssal Scepter. Got that Zhonya's completed as well by Whirlib. So he's gone for those 2 items, and we'll see if he can really stop getting the payoff on that item now, because he got that second, remember, because he got a prototype proto belt first.
Yep.
Kind of hard to say. I feel like it should be an easy word to say, but then you say it and it's just like, oh.
The Hextech proto belt.
-01.
To be fair, I'm yet to see it actually have any massive impact.
Yeah. Looks cool.
Looks really cool. But I mean, I'm still more sold on the Abyssal into Zhonya's, personally. Yeah. That is just a personal preference, of course. I guess Whirlib values the HP as well as the active available. He still has plenty of opportunities to make a play with it. We're only 25 minutes into the game, and given the track record, we're likely working towards another 40-plus minute game, as these teams kind of lack that hard engage, as we've been discussing about the fact that now in the support you're not running that Alistair really anymore. Maokai seems to be moving away to more of these off-tank, half-carry, half-tank top laners that it's not as easy to just run up and start a fight. Very much about controlling the vision, setting up deep wards, trying to catch people in their rotations. And if you just speaking of the vision, just have a look at all these wards coming out from Fnatic. Pink wards all across the map. Can't quite extend their vision deep into SK's half of the jungle just yet. But I don't think they're going to be too upset about that right now, because they do hold on to the gold lead. Their composition does scale quite nicely with the Ezreal and the Kennen. And SK, even though they do have a very good teamfight composition, you can never underestimate the power of that Kennen.
And when you look at these compositions as well, I mean, Fnatic, they have these conditional engage from Whirlib and Purefect, where they need to find these flank engages, and they need to try and make it happen. Where that's why you've seen so many plays trying to be set up by Fnatic versus SK, who have just been reacting to those plays and just playing the fights out better. So that's why we're not seeing like fights all the time, because SK don't have like a great way of getting into a fight, apart from Cesar like getting a flank and then like a flash knockup, or like Unlimited just rocking up and just pillaring them. So there's not really like a good way to engage from SK.
No, there really is not. Yeah, as you were saying, like the flanks are really important in this engagement, and because we can't, or because the teams can't get that necessary vision to set them up, it is becoming difficult. Noticing that Banshee's finished now for Cesar, decided to prioritize that over the Spirit's Visage. Spirit's Visage did have a nerf to its magic resistance, whereas Banshee's Veil is one of the few magic items that did not. As Ruin right now, gonna have to run really fast, get out of that one.
Gotta go fast. He's out. He's good. He's fine.
Yep, he is absolutely fine. Cesar moving up to the top lane, like looking to get a collapse down onto Whirlib.
Well, Whirlib has his flash and the belt available. Cesar's going to come in, look for a knock-up. There's the flash being burnt. Another flash from Cesar to keep him in place. Belt's going to be used, but the Chaos Storm should be enough damage. It's going to take over time. And we'll find him with the laser to finish him off. And Whirlib goes down. Ruin, meanwhile, in the bot lane. See if Fnatic can do the same down here. Stops the ultimate, but he's just so tanky. Unlimited will be less tanky. And Exalt will find him. Ruin is looking for the ultimate. Doesn't choose to use the Verdict. And now the culling comes in for wave clear. So that's a 1-for-1 trade support for top lane. But Fnatic actually have the momentum here to make a play.
Yeah, they do. They're pushing down onto the tier 2 turret, which is going to give them so much more control over the map. It is going to be a turret exchange, but the fact that Fnatic were able to pick up a much deeper turret, it means that they are going to come out ahead in this one. And Unlimited gave away his life there, I feel. He tried to keep Ruin alive when he just didn't need to. Ruin is so tanky at this point. It's going to take way more than just 4 members to kill him. So Ruin, he wants a little bit of revenge for his support.
Yeah, he's once again going real deep, looking for the Verdict onto 2 players. Cesar has stayed along for a little too long. Whirlib is going to try and find him. Claw comes across. Impaler, end of the line, and that is the end of the line for Cesar. Just a bit of an overextension, but to be fair, he was bailing out Ruin, who
Ruin
just went in.
I feel like you set Cesar up there for failure. This was the high-risk style of play that Ruin likes to go for.
Yeah.
He got an over-aggressive engagement onto Impaler. He then had the Poppycopter used as a form of disengage, which actually created a numbers advantage for SK, but it didn't matter because Ruin was so low health he couldn't continue with the fight, which just basically left Cesar out to dry. And Fnatic Academy now equalizing the kill score, extending their gold lead ever so slightly, feeling a little bit more confident moving forward.
Need to highlight the fact that Cesar has 6 deaths in this game.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not doing too well. Werlib, respect the ultimate.
Or not.
Or Asuno, he's also been caught out. He went very deep for Werlib. That'll be a shutdown 1-for-1.
Oh,
now
nice.
Exog, he's been caught out, pinned in place against the pillar. What a fantastic setup from Ruin and Unlimited. And this mid turret should be going down now to SK. Cly only now coming into this mid lane.
Great interaction between the pillar and the Poppy heroic charge. Have a look though. Soz Perfect sitting up in the top lane. He still has the teleport available. No one from SK actually moving up to deal with him. As I say, that Ruin now moving. Dragon is live. How are SK going to choose to play this one? They want to pick up this Infernal Drake.
This will be the second one of the game. And need to double check who has which buffs.
First one did go over to Fnatic.
Okay. Well, it should be SK to secure this. I don't think Impaler can get over the wall, so that'll be 1-on-1. Cly is dead. Very dead. Very, very dead. I don't know why he stayed around, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he wanted to try and provide some support to Impaler, who could maybe go for the steal, but Impaler, he had no flash. Anyway, have a look at Werlib. And now have a look at him disappear. Impaler able to catch out Suno, who overcommitted just a little bit for that kill, 1-for-1, and there it is. Really nice interaction between both Poppy and Trundle, setting up for that play. You need a wall, Trundle's your man.
I'm actually surprised we don't see that more often, honestly. We see a lot of Poppy and we see a lot of Trundle, but we don't see Trundle set up a Poppy for that, because you just point and click on your target, and then have Unlimited be in range, and then just...
Poppy to Leah is going to be an awesome interaction.
Poppy to Leah. Remember the Vayne build where you go ZZ Rot and then you condemn someone, ZZ Rot behind them and it stuns them?
That was not a build, Pulse.
It was so good though.
Only you would say that.
But yeah, that's true. But yeah, Ruin, I'd just like to see more of that. Heroic charge into like player-created terrain is really cool.
Certainly is. You could do it with the Nivea wall as well.
Yeah. But you see more like Trundle. The point is that like we see these champions so often that I'm just surprised we didn't see more of that interaction.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So Cesar going to be rejoining the fray as Cly and Unlimited strut their support stuff. So, looking at the map right now, 32 minutes into the game, gold lead in favor of Fnatic. They have been the ones typically coming out ahead in these fights. Perfect, looking for the flank. He knows that he has the vision advantage around there. But I feel like the stand-up player moving forward for Fnatic is going to be Ruin. He is on a phenomenal scoreline right now. As long as he can get onto these priority targets and either prevent Werlib from getting in, using that Poppycopter to deny any of these flank engages coming out from Fnatic, he really could be the game changer in these next few fights. So keep your eyes peeled onto Ruin, because this guy, he does have those 50-50 performances, and while he does have the ability to land a multi-man ultimate that can completely deny Fnatic, he could also completely whiff it and fire it in the wrong direction.
He could.
That's what makes Ruin so great. You never know what you're going to get.
That's true. It's very fun to watch. But I think this game, he's just been consistently good, honestly.
He has, yeah.
I think he's hit a lot of good ultimates. He's had some really good steadfast presences. My mind cast back to Impaler when he just got stuck in the jungle. So, yeah, Ruin's been having, yet again, another great game. So, excited to see what else he can bring to the table. Unlimited is camped out in his own jungle, lying in wait. SK are still behind in gold, funny enough, because Fnatic have managed to pick up a lot of towers in this game, despite it feeling like SK have been winning in this game.
Yeah, it does seem like that. The thing is, it feels like SK have just been coming out ahead in the fights, but Fnatic have been playing the map pretty well. We talked earlier about their vision. You can see them slowly starting to move it forward. They're now at the entrances to SK's jungle, and the further that gets, the more control Fnatic is going to be able to have. They are running the double teleport as opposed to the single teleport on SK as well. So by keeping Salt's Pure Effect in the side lanes, he's always drawing this pressure that somebody has to come and deal with. And it's just forcing SK to split up, forcing them to divide their attention. And that is making SK's life a little bit difficult. Not really going the way they wanted in the terms of just setting up the 5v5 fights that their team composition is so good at.
Well, 9-11 in this game so far. 3,000 gold ahead are Fnatic. And now clearing up this mid wave. Baron is on the board. We'll see if that becomes a point of contention. That was the word I was looking for. Exorc and World will be taking away this Scuttler. And Cesar Unlimited will be on their way. Finding him with a pillar. Let's revisit the item builds. Haven't looked at them in a while. So there's the voice staff actually coming out from World Up now. So this big AoE composition is starting to come together, which, as the game goes on, you feel should be the one that should come up big against SK, who have historically found really good fights because of Suno just hitting sick ultimates.
Have a look at Pure Effect. He's coming in from behind. This could be the fight that Fnatic won.
Ruin, he's going to get onto Cly, and he's pretty much dead before this fight begins. Ruin's kind of coming with the point-blank ultimate. World is chasing after Suno. Cly goes down. Vardax is exchanged. Ruin is low himself. He'll have to be scurrying back to base. Or not, he'll go into the enemy team and just straight up die. Cesar was looking to assist his ally, but Ruin, that's one of those situations where he went a little too far in.
Yeah, Ruin making that risky play once again, investing his heroic charge onto the support of Fnatic. And that shield coming up from Cly just tanked up so much of the damage and bought Fnatic enough time to go for the re-engage. Salt's Pure Effect coming in from behind, getting that ultimate down onto Vardax and bursting in before he even had an opportunity to react. Great stuff coming out from them, and we're going to see this replay here. So have a look at this. Cly moving up slightly out of position. The support takes a huge chunk of damage. Even the Subjugate was used from Unlimited, but it doesn't matter because the combo from Werlib and Salt's Pure Effect was enough to just shut down Unlimited. And then Ruin on the backline by himself. Absolutely no follow-up from SK. Results in SK falling out behind once again. So Fnatic putting their foot on the pedal a little bit more.
Yeah, it feels like a very odd game. Doesn't feel like the people who are winning fights are necessarily winning
series,
the game. Yeah, that's true. That is true. This is the third one of the day, of only day 3 out of 5 days of this group stage. Of course, the winners will go to the finals. There's going to be 2 finals. The winner of Group A will face the second seed from Group B, and vice versa. And the winner of that will go into the Challenger Series, which will be starting very shortly. But CSQ, we still have another 3 days of this action. And Impaler, he's going to be clearing out all of these jungle wards. Slightly better now. If he comes across a pink ward, only needs to reload once, instead of reloading a second time and then crying and feeling horrible with his life. But
okay.
generally it's not too bad, because you could have always quick draw as well. But Elder Dragon is now on the board. Only 3 dragons actually went down before this one, so there's not a lot to really buff up. SK, we've gotten 2 of those dragons, and that is a Mountain Drake and an Infernal Drake, so that means they have a Volcano.
And now with the positional advantage that SK have, they're going to rotate straight round to the Baron. Double teleport is available from Fnatic. They do have a ward near the Baron pit, so they know that this is going on. Question is, how are they going to respond?
Werlib is TPing. A lot of people are TPing. Werlib is very fast. Now he's the Flash. He's coming in. Protobelt comes out. He's going to pop the ultimate, but has to preemptively use his own. Impaler with the steal. And will this be enough to win the fight? No, Pure Effect's looking to get involved. W comes out, looking for his own ultimate on top of himself. Vardax and everyone from SK are getting melted. Vardax is backing off. Cesar gets called out. Pure Effect looking for one more order to find Vardax. That'll be a 3-for-1, but more importantly, the Baron over to Fnatic.
Impaler with the steal turns the fight around in Fnatic's favor, and things are finally going the way that they wanted them to go. Beautiful execution coming out from Fnatic. You had the double teleport for the multi-pronged attack, and it was just exquisite execution. Things were looking pretty horrible initially because Werlib got chunked out massively by Suno, but because Suno had used all his burst on a single target, that meant that SK was somewhat lacking in the damage department following up when SK tried to go for the re-engagement. Cesar on this Rek'Sai not being able to perform a hang on a second Fnatic. This might be greedy.
Elder Elder Dragon down to 4,000 HP. Vardax insta-cleanse outside of Purefect's ultimate. Seza, he's going to be backing away through the tunnel, but he's not going to be found. And Exorc, he's going to come in here, try and take down this Elder Dragon. Ruin's coming in. That's once again smited away by Impaler. Ruin's going to find one kill. Purefect and Cly are both low themselves. No way out of the pit. Whirlup is going to nuke down his target, and he's going to look towards Unlimited as well. Mystic shot over the wall, and that will bring an end to the hostilities. 3 for 2 overall. Advantage to Fnatic and the Elder Dragon.
So Fnatic picking up objective after objective after a single play coming out from SK. They feel like they can just go for the Baron because Fnatic aren't in a position to respond. The double TP isn't respected, and here you can see Cly with the beautiful ultimate to pretty much limit the disengage from SK. Sauce Purefect coming in from over the wall, getting the multi-man route into the multi-man ultimate once again. And Whirlip, he did his job because he kept Suno preoccupied enough that Exor could just go for the cleanup. And I didn't mention it, but Impaler with the steal. Just beautiful stuff coming out from Fnatic Academy. That right there was the Fnatic Academy that everyone was expecting.
Yeah, he must have been playing a lot of Smite Simulator because that was a really good Smite steal out at the end. And 4-2 and 10 this game. Really, from what we've seen before from Impaler, it's definitely been like the early game's been fantastic, but getting into the mid game and the late game has been kind of lackluster. But this game has been fantastic. So we'll see if that can carry on for Fnatic. But getting an Elder Dragon and the Baron, there is so much momentum over to that side now. We'll see if they can actually push into the space, because they have both those buffs still remaining. So with 3 people pushing down the mid lane and Whirlup up to the top side, it's down to SK to see if they can hold the line.
Right now, this Elder Dragon, and remember, it does only last 2 minutes. You can see it's already about to run out, so Fnatic likely not going to be able to use it to that great of effectiveness, but there is a massive minion wave up in the top lane. Fnatic have a great composition for actually setting up the dive as long as they initiate with Sauce Purefect. They have plenty of follow-up. The big problem is their ability to siege. Exorc has to get quite close to hit down onto that turret. Can SK stop this push?
Oh, the tower's dropping low. It's about down to 25% HP now, and these 2 minions are just going to town on it, trying to defend this last one, but the Baron buff has now worn off. And still, Fnatic have not quite cracked the pace of SK Gaming, so this will stall the game out for a little bit longer. But SK Gaming just kind of back off and allow Fnatic to finish it off. So now the base has been exposed, the inhibitor is now there, and Fnatic definitely have the superior teamfighting composition at this stage in the game. We'll just have to see if they can get in position. Ruin is going in for the engage, but the team isn't quite there yet. Purefect over the wall, the flash to W, the ultimate. Vardax drops low. Unlimited is also dropping as well. Ruin goes into the back lines, but he's easily taken down into his Guardian Angel. Whirlup is there. Whirlup is getting slammed into this tower, jumps into the enemy team, and still has his ultimate. Finds 1, finds 2. Vardax on the cusp of dying, and Fnatic onto this inhibitor. 2 kills, and the base is basically belong to Fnatic.
So Fnatic finally get themselves into the base of SK. They take down the turret, which was a bit of a mishap from SK. They try to force the fight from Ruin, going for that engage once more. It didn't work out for SK, and now Fnatic, they're going to be able to pick themselves up 2 inhibitors, and they are in a prime position to get themselves their first win in the Challenger Series qualifier.
Dominating win there in that last team fight. Vardax is now just trying to grab straws, take away some of his farm, trying to farm up, but let's see the start of that engagement once again when the tower just kind of went down.
So again, Ruin, his engagement onto Cly is really not the target that you want to be focusing on. Using his disengage onto Kennen was pretty good that early on because it meant that follow-up was unavailable, but there's just no answer from SK. They're always playing on the back foot. They're always trying to run away because this front line of Cly and Whirlip is so terrifying that SK don't really know how to play around it. Whirlip going for the flash engagement. Really nice execution. And Fnatic overall playing these fights far more confidently than they have been throughout the CSQ.
Yeah, and I like the composition as well, because it allows them to do stuff in the mid game and late game without having to like play the composition perfectly, because we were playing a lot of difficult to play compositions, but now it's like just get into the fight and pop all your abilities.
It reminds me of a comp that my university team used to run, which was back when Sejuani was OP, and you would run Lissandra Sejuani Kennen.
It's to close your eyes and just run in and face roll.
It was so good. You could put an Ezreal in there as well. or misfortune, but the wombo combo is truly beautiful when you manage to stack it all up together. So you do have a bit of that, but Fnatic right now, they're in a good position. SK potentially setting up for a pick. No vision coming out from Fnatic.
That's going to turn the corner. They find Impaler and Kalai. Cesar's going in, he's going out. And that didn't quite work out from them. Ruin is charging up and is going to let that one tick down, so he's still got the cooldown. Whirler pushing in the top side of the map. Someone's going to have to deal with him. Super minions are flooding in from the mid and top lanes. Ruin is going to be the one to try and deal with this, but he can't clear out all these minions. Someone's going to have to help him. And Fnatic, they just take the bottom tower.
Fnatic slowly bleeding their way into SK's base. With all 3 inhibitors down, SK are really struggling to deal with the pressure. The Baron has just spawned. This could be an objective that Fnatic go and grab to basically make their game closure guaranteed.
Well, SK just having to try and clear up all of these minions that are just littering their base. Fnatic stayed in their base and just didn't clean up after themselves. And now Baron is alive, so it will be trying to contest that one. SK Gaming push out of their base. It's kind of do or die, because as soon as they're dragged towards the Baron, there's not much they can do. They're in an enclosed environment in the jungle, and then Fnatic will just run all over them. SK Gaming, what can they do here? They're trying to just find something in this game.
You still have a lot of damage with the Victor and with the Lucian. So obviously we have hit the 45-minute mark, so this build with the Ghost Blade and the Black Cleaver has fallen off relative to the Ezreal. But if you can just get that multi-man Victor element off, that could be a way for Fnatic or for SK to find their way back in, or maybe even a Baron steal for themselves. It's going to be very difficult though, with Fnatic sitting on this 12,000 gold lead, a pretty big powerhouse right now.
Ruin is on cleanup duty in the base. He's still trying to take away these minions, but it's a hard task as a Poppy when you've only built tank items. Fnatic now onto the Baron, 13,000 health. But Unlimited here with Cesar and Vardags. He's trying to find a pick. Unlimited maybe a little overextended. He's going to have to flash away, but he's still slowed down. Pure Effect in from the side. Doesn't get the snare down. That's going to be the TP coming in from Ruin. The cavalry is going to come into this fight. Kalai is going to be zoning away Vardags. Pure Effect looks to find him. Follows over the glacial path, looking for another W. He's going to be pop blocked out from Ruin. The ultimate coming in. Vardags now trying to retreat back to base using his Ghost Blade, but the tower is going to fall down to the melee minions.
2 might fall.
And Ruin is trying to get away these minions, but 2 fall to the minions alone. That's going to allow Fnatic easily to take away this Baron. And it's basically just going to be the end of this game for SK very shortly.
Fnatic playing that beautifully. They just kept SK's attention while the super minions were walking into SK's base and ending the game for them. This is how you use those minions to pick yourselves up those neutral objectives. And now, with that Baron buff, yes, the inhibitors will be respawning, but with the goldie that Fnatic have, with the team fights that they have been winning over and over and over again, Fnatic are likely going to close this game out and make their way onto the board.
Yeah, it's just a matter of filing the paperwork at this point. Only 1 inhibitor still remaining. Fnatic are pushing into the base with Pure Effect leading the charge. Vardags is going to try his damnedest to make sure that this does not happen. Another inhibitor about to spawn in the mid lane, but it's about to die very quickly. In a second. There we go. It's now respawned, and then Fnatic will completely destroy this inhibitor. SK Gaming need to try and find some type of miracle engagement, but I just don't really see it here, Vidius.
Well, SK, they don't want to give up hope just yet. Remember that they are sitting at 2-0, so every win matters for them as Fnatic continuing their siege. These empowered super minions doing a lot of work at this point. Fnatic, they might not even need to end the game as Cesar goes for the flash.
He doesn't find the knock-up, though. That was key. And Fnatic still have so many of their summoners. They're going to play it safe, and rightly so. Or maybe not. Pure Effect's just going to jump in. Unlimited's going to go down. There's the AoE wombo combo coming out. Ruin is going to come into the fight. Vardag trying to respond with some damage, but Fnatic are all over this one. They're onto the Nexus. Ruin, the clean sweep, the clean ace, and they find their first win of CSQ.
Fnatic Academy bring out the unique strategy. In the mid game, they look super dicey. They definitely did. And I feel like that the game swing was when SK threw away that Baron. They decided, we need to make a play. This game is super stale. Nothing is happening. And the longer we wait, the stronger that cannon's going to be. So let's just try and make a play right now. Fnatic, they've gone for the Dragon. We're in a great position. We can just nuke down the Baron. We even have the Mountain Drake. It's not a problem. We can take this one. Unfortunately, they overestimated their damage. They didn't respect the double teleport. They get collapsed on from both sides, and they give away the Baron due to a fantastic steal coming out from Impaler.
Yeah, but it still does mean that's only the first loss from SK. So they're still in a pretty good position. They've got another 2 games to go. So still likely that they will be making the finals. Fnatic, first win on the board, so they need to win the rest of their games from here on out. But that was better. Yes, it was shaking in the mid lane, in the mid game, as you just mentioned, Vedius. But early game was just as good as it always is. But they were able to transition that into the late game. They didn't make stupid decisions, and their team fight was very strong. It was just like run in there, pop your ultimates, pick up those kills, and if we can see more of that from Fnatic, we could actually see them bounce back, because I would like to see more from the squad, because they have some really good solo talents in their roster.
They certainly do. It was also nice to see Clay on that Braum, making some really good plays. His positioning was fantastic, providing the peel that you really needed to keep your team alive in a lot of situations. He also was kind of like the sacrificial lamb in a lot of instances, where he was on the front line and drawing Ruin's pressure. And, you know, speaking of Ruin, he was very solid on that Poppy today. Again, a couple questionable engages, couple like high-risk plays, I think is the best way to describe them. And to be fair to him, he's still my standout player for SK. And moving forward, I think that as long as he continues that sort of practice, he's going to be doing well throughout the CSQ. And now that the board in Group A has opened up a little more, we're now seeing more teams evenly matched with low priority sitting at the top. SK are definitely not out of it yet.
Oh, for sure. And it's also been great watching Ruin. He's a very interesting player to watch. Also, out of the... I guess we're getting played out, so we'll see you later. 3 games down and 3 to go. We're going to take another quick break, but stay tuned right here.